Greetings, my fellow animers. It's the Animer guy here, and my quest for underappreciated and underrated characters is still going. And today's video is going to be about Matt. And let me ask you, how many of you actually remember this character? This guy is one of the characters that had the most unfair treat from the authors. He barely even had a whole minute of screen time. And for that reason, a lot of fans made fun of him. But today, in this video, I'm not going to roast Matt. Instead, I'm going to talk a little bit about his background and point out his importance in the story. You see, every character has importance if they have a certain amount of screen time, minor or not. In Matt's case in particular, he didn't have a long screen time, but plot-wise, he was a very important character. Okay, I'll start with some background information. So what do we know about him? His real name is actually Mile Jeeves, and the name Matt is just an alias, just like the names Nier, Mello, and El. Because he was also raised and trained in the same orphanage as El and the others. It's the Wateries Orphanage for Gifted Children that is located in Winchester, England. And he was among the top children in the orphanage. With his intelligence, he was ranked third after Nier and Mello, and officially considered as one of the successors for El. And as you all know, he's Mello's best friend and assistant. His specialty is technology, therefore he was told by Mello to monitor Misa, Mogi, and Aizawa in the manga, but we didn't get to see much more of Matt's activity in the anime, but in the manga most of his involvement was shown. He was tailing Misa with all his devices and by using his vast knowledge in the technological stuff. And as for his personality, he seemed like a pretty chill guy and cocky sometimes and quite confident. We could see that from his reckless drive and fearless infiltration and having a guts to ask a dozen of men pointing a gun at him. Like, since when were the Japanese allowed to have such big guns? I mean, that's a lot of courage considering his situation that he was. And like every other genius detective in the Death Note, he also has his signature habit, like as for example, Nier stacks objects all the time, and Mello eats chocolate, and El eats desserts. And as for Matt, it's probably smoking, because on the every scene he appeared, he was smoking. Matt's hideout is seen with a lot of junk foods, and his workspace seemed quite messy. So it's safe to assume that he also had a bad diet like El. And the thing is that he didn't bother about it. He enjoys playing video games and he dislikes going outside. Even one of the authors claimed that Matt is a young man who loves gaming and doesn't really care much about the world outside. So on the anime, he only appeared 2 times. First, a very short scene with Mello when Mello was listening to Misa's room with a recorder. He was playing video games. Then his last and first longest scene was the Takada's kidnapping scene. But fortunately in the manga, his actions were shown more, but not like more of more, but just a little bit more than in the anime. In the manga, Matt did the same thing he did in the anime, but we actually saw his actions. So now, why was he important? If Matt wasn't there, Mello wouldn't succeed with his plan, and that means Nier would never won against Light. I made a detailed explanation video on how Mello was the key character on Light's Laws. You can find a link in my description, or you can peek into my channel and watch the video. And what I've pointed out on that video was how Mello's sacrifice made Nier to notice that Light already knew what he was planning, and he had no chance if he stayed with his current plan at the time. So because of Mello's sacrifice, Nier revised his plan and decided to swap the original Death Note with the fake one, not just one page. And if Matt didn't do the distraction and lure the guards to himself, Mello wouldn't have succeeded, and outcome at the end of the Death Note series would be something different. And at last but not least, I have one fact for you guys that you probably never knew about. It's about Matt's last scene. Both in the anime and manga, the process was pretty much the same. So after Matt helped Mello to abduct Takeda, he was getting followed by the guards of Takeda. Not so far, he was surrounded, and realizing he can no longer escape, he tries to do some word game, and he gets out and asks why are they allowed to carry such big gun in Japan, and says his classic line, "You won't shoot me because I am the accomplice of that incident with Takeda." But the guards shot him without a second thought. But why? Why the guards shot him without a second thought? What did he do? So the reason was Matt was actually going to use his smoke gun again to escape. And I know you're confused because I didn't notice on the first watch as well. Matt wasn't stupid. As I said, he was ranked in the third in Raimi's house. He did have a plan to get out from that situation. So he hid his smoke gun behind his neck in his jacket, as you can see in here. You probably didn't notice this because it's probably because of the darkness of the scene. So he did have a plan, as you can see here. His plan was much better shown in the anime version, but nevertheless he couldn't get out alive from that situation. And that'll be all for today's video, guys. Thank you for watching, and then again, if you have any requests on particular characters and particular theory, let me know in the comment section, and see you next time.